Hey kid, he said. His voice was sort of deep. What are you doing out here in the cold? She looked up at him and watched as he knelt down. They met face to face. Eye to eye. She stared at his eyes, then smiled. Hey mister, your eyes are just like mine. Come with me, he said, standing up. She hopped up without hesitation. Okay. Where are we going? He sighed. You know you shouldn't trust strangers? I know that, she said, smiling. Then why are you coming with me? 'Cause I got a good feeling about you, she said. Strangers are just friends you haven't met yet. The two were walking down a dirt path. Do you ever take your mask off? She asked. No. Why? He sighed. Listen, kid, I'm not in the mood to answer your questions. But why do you wear the mask all the time? Well, because he sighed again. Listen, kid, it's hard to explain. Now be quiet. She was quiet. For about 5 seconds. She reached out and touched the huge wrapped-up thing on his back. What's this? He grabbed her wrist. Don't touch it. Why? Why do you have to ask why after I tell you to do something? Can't you listen to orders, kid? Well, I want to know why. I told you not to touch it. Don't touch it. Why? Because it's mine. You can understand that. If someone went touching your stuff, you'd want them to lay off too. I guess you're right, she said, grinning. A gust of wind blew past them, carrying leaves. She shivered, for she was dressed for summer. It was very autumn. So autumn that it was almost winter. He took his huge scarf off and plopped it over her head and around her neck without saying a word. It was big on her, because it was made for a man and she was but a child. She grinned up at him. Thanks, mister. You're nice. Yeah, don't take it personally, kid. She held his hand. Her hand was little and fragile compared to his. His hand was wrapped in bandages. Hey, don't get too close. Why are there bandages all over your hands? Are you hurt? I'm fine, he said. You don't need to worry about me. Now that she thought about it, most of the rest of him was covered in bandages too. Only she hadn't noticed because he was wearing a black jacket. You've got bandages all over your body. He sort of half chuckled. When you get in fights as often as me, kid, you'll find yourself covered in bandages most of the time too. You get in fights? How come? Because, let's just say not many people like me. Is that why I saw your face before all over the street? There was a big word above your picture, and it was red. I dunno what it spelled, but I know the letters. WANTED. Then there was a bunch of numbers below it. Yeah, don't pay attention to the signs you see on the street, kid. Why do you have knives in your belt? For protecting myself from people. What's that? She pointed to a gun. That's something you should never play with. Why? It's dangerous. Don't touch it. What's in that pouch on your belt? Ninja stars. What are those? None of your business, kid. Now will you stop with all the questions? Well, I'm curious about you. Case you haven't noticed, you're not too normal looking, she said. Why are you taking me with you anyway? You don't seem to like me too much. Well, he said, not really wanting to tell the truth. But he did anyways. I used to be just like you. No parents and nowhere to go. Really? She asked. You mean? You're an orphan too? Was an orphan. She was quiet. How did they die? I don't want to talk about it right now, he said, craning his neck. They were quiet for a little while. Mine died in a fire, she spoke up. He sighed. He had to tell her anyways. After all, she told him how hers died. So he had to tell her how his died. It's the orphan code. Mine were murdered. Right in front of me. She was surprised. That must have been horrible to watch. Yeah, I guess it was. How old were you? Younger than you, he said. She frowned. Sorry. He chuckled sadly and pat her on the head. Don't apologize, kid. It's not your fault. How did you survive without them? Well, for me, there was no one to take me in like there is for you. I had to survive on my own. Stealing, killing, he said, and that's why I'm taking you with me. We need each other. There was no one to help me. But I'm helping you. Because we're the same. She didn't say anything. Look, kid, he said, you're a smart girl. And strong. You have the eyes of a survivor. And a fighter. You think? I know. She smiled at him. Does this mean I get to live with you now? Don't expect a house. I won't. You don't look like the type of person to have a house, anyway, she said. Are you going to teach me how to fight? I'll teach you everything I know. Are you like my new family? People like us have to stick together, kid. She smiled. Like glue. He sighed. I guess I'm stuck with you. Hey, I never got your name, she realized. Kit. Hey, my name starts with K too, she said, smiling. Kiko. He laughed. What's so funny? Your name fits you perfectly. Huh? What do you mean? Kiko. It means, be glad. Be glad, she asked. I like that. They were quiet for a moment. Thank you, she said finally. I thought I'd never get a family again. He smiled for once. Yeah, me too.